Hey everyone, welcome back to the current essay. So the Department of Basic Education has just dropped a bombshell, or as some would call it, a clarification. They've officially stated that every child living in South Africa, no matter their nationality or documentation status, has the right to basic education. That means even if a child does not have a birth certificate, passport, or study permit, schools must admit them. Now, this has opened a can of worms online. Some South Africans are saying this move is unfair when locals struggle to get placement for their own kids, while others argue that the Constitution has always protected this right. Let's unpack what's really going on. The South African government, through the Department of Basic Education, posted facts about school admissions. They said, and I quote, "The constitutional right to basic education is immediately realizable for every child living in South Africa, regardless of their nationality or documentation status." In simple terms, no principal, no school, and no district official can refuse a child admission because they don't have certain documents like birth certificate or study permit. This rule comes directly from the South African Schools Act and the updated Basic Education Laws Amendment Act of 2024, also known as the Bella Act. The department says public schools must provide education to all learners without unfair discrimination of any kind. That means even undocumented learners must be allowed to attend school. Missing documents can be used as an excuse to deny education. Principals are encouraged to help parents get documents while the learner continues to attend school. It all goes back to the Constitution of the country. Section 29, subsection 1, paragraph A. It says that everyone has the right to a basic education, not just citizens, not just those with IDs, everyone. The department is saying that this right is immediately realizable, meaning the government can't delay or limit it based on someone's paperwork. Basically, the goal is to protect children, even if their parents' immigration status is complicated. The focus, they say, should be on education first and documentation later. The Department of Basic Education also clarified why schools even ask for documents in the first place. They said it's not to decide whether a learner qualifies for education, it's simply for administrative reasons. To verify a learner's identity, to make sure guardianship details are correct, and to keep records accurate. So while schools can still request documents, they cannot use lack of those documents as a reason to reject a learner. The department also warned the public to be careful about fake news, especially misinformation that represents learners' admission requirements. They said there are people and pages spreading false claims that undocumented children can attend school and that this creates division and stigma. According to the Department of Basic Education, this is false and all official information should come directly from education departments or their official websites. Now let's talk about what many South Africans are saying because this announcement sparked a major reaction online. Some citizens feel frustrated, arguing that it's already difficult for local children to find placement in overcrowded schools. Many are asking, how can undocumented learners be admitted when South African kids are still waiting for space? Others say the government should first fix the system, build more schools, hire more teachers, and prioritize citizens before opening the doors to everyone. On the other hand, some South Africans are defending the department's position, saying that children are not responsible for their parents' migration status and that denying them education only creates bigger social problems in the future. So you can see the debate is intense, balancing constitutional rights with the practical challenges schools face every day. In theory, this law sounds good, no child left behind, but in practice, it raises big questions. How will already overcrowded schools handle even more admissions? What about funding? Will the government increase budgets to cover undocumented learners? And Will principals now face pressure from both sides, government instructions versus community frustrations? It's a tricky situation. On one hand, the constitution is clear, every child deserves education. On the other hand, South Africans want fairness, accountability, especially when many citizens struggle to get their own kids into schools or receive proper learning resources. This statement from the Department of Basic Education doesn't exist in isolation. It ties into a bigger national issue: how South Africa handles undocumented migration and public service access. We have seen similar debates before in hospitals, housing, and now in schools. The tension always comes down to this question: how do we balance human rights with national capacity? And while the Department of Basic Education says schools should not discriminate, it's also clear that communities want the government to tighten immigration controls so that systems meant for South Africans don't collapse under extra pressure. At the end of the day, this issue forces us to ask, can South Africa realistically provide free education for every child within its borders? Or is that promise more ideal than practical? The Constitution says yes, but the daily reality in our schools might tell us a different story. So what do you think? Should undocumented children have the same access to education as South African citizens? Or should there be limits based on legal status? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. I want to hear your views. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on my next upload, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I'll see you later.